Ever stayed in a hotel that gave you the creeps? The Hidden Stay Hotel appeared quite ordinary from the outside. Nestled in a quiet corner of the city, it was a beacon of comfort and hospitality to weary travelers. The brick facade, the quaint lobby, the warm glow of the chandeliers, all seemed to promise a restful stay. An unsuspecting family seeking refuge from their long journey was drawn in by this seeming sanctuary. Their initial impressions were of relief and anticipation. The receptionist, with a smile that never quite reached his eyes, handed them the keys. His peculiar glances, however, sent a shiver of unease down their spines. The family brushed it off, attributing it to the fatigue of travel. Yet with each step they took down the hotel's long, winding corridors, the air grew heavy with an unspoken dread. The walls closed in, whispering secrets of the past. But as they ventured further into the hotel, the atmosphere began to change. Stepping into the hallways, the family could sense something was off. A creeping unease washed over them as they ventured further in, their footsteps echoing ominously against the cold stone walls. The hotel exuded an air of normalcy, yet something was decidedly amiss. The hallways, once teeming with the hustle and bustle of guests, were now eerily silent, save for the occasional whisper of the wind. As they walked on, they couldn't help but notice the artwork adorning the walls. At first glance, they were ordinary paintings, landscapes, portraits, still lifes. But as they moved deeper into the labyrinth of hallways, the art began to change. Landscapes twisted into grotesque shapes, portraits aged before their eyes, and still lifes turned into scenes of chaos. It was as though the paintings were alive, shifting and changing in response to the family's growing fear. Their attention was drawn to the furniture, which seemed to have taken on a life of its own. Whispers filled the air, an unintelligible cacophony that seemed to emanate from the antique chairs and tables lining the hallway. It was a symphony of sound, a chorus of whispers that echoed along the corridors, adding to the growing sense of unease. Suspicion began to take root within the family. The mother cast wary glances at the whispering furniture, while the father's eyes darted between the changing artwork and the empty hallways. The children clung to their parents, their wide eyes reflecting their mounting fear. Yet despite the mounting oddities, they chose to stay. The hotel, for all its eccentricities, held a certain allure. They couldn't explain it, but something about the place drew them in, like moths to a flame. They decided to settle in for the night, hoping that the strange occurrences were merely products of their imagination. Despite the oddities, they decided to stay. Little did they know, the night had much more in store. As darkness fell, the hotel revealed its true colors. In the chilling stillness of the night, an eerie symphony began to play. Strange, indiscernible sounds permeated the air, like whispers from the forgotten past of the building, a haunting melody that echoed through the vacant corridors and seeped into the cracks of the old wooden doors. Unseen shadows, elusive specters of the night, began to roam the rooms uninvited. They slithered across the walls, danced on the ceilings, and lurked in the corners, their presence felt but never seen. A chill ran down the spine of the family, their hearts pounded like a drum echoing in the stillness. Fear, like a thick fog, began to settle in their minds, an unwelcome guest that refused to leave. Bizarre occurrences began to multiply, each more unsettling than the previous. Mirrors, once a mere reflection of reality, turned into a window to another world. Unfamiliar faces stared back from the polished glass, their expressions twisted in a silent scream, their eyes brimming with tales of terror and despair. Each reflection, a distorted reality, sent shivers down their spines, making the hair on the back of their necks stand up. The hotel seemed to be alive, breathing with an unseen force, its heartbeat resonating in the walls. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind through the broken window panes, every flicker of the dying lights added to the symphony of horror. The family huddled together, their eyes wide with fear, their breaths held in anticipation of the unseen terrors that the night harbored. Yet, amid the terror, they held onto a sliver of hope. A hope that the first light of dawn would banish the shadows, that the morning sun would chase away the night's unseen horrors. But as the night wore on, the shadows thickened, the sounds grew louder, the faces in the mirrors more horrifying. The family faced a night filled with terror, but by morning, something even more chilling had occurred. Dawn broke, but the family was nowhere to be found. As the first rays of sunlight pierced through the gloom, the hotel seemed to breathe out a sigh of relief, returning to its mundane facade. The family that had checked in the previous day had vanished without a trace. It was as if they had never been there at all. The rooms they occupied remained untouched and the beds they slept in were flawlessly made. There was no sign of struggle, no indication of hurried departure. Their belongings were gone, as though they never brought any luggage with them. The clothes they had worn, the items they had used, everything mysteriously disappeared. Even the pictures they had admired on the walls were nowhere to be found. The hotel was devoid of any evidence that it had ever hosted anyone at all. Strangely, the receptionist had no memory of the family leaving. No one saw them depart, and no one heard any unusual sounds during the night. The CCTV footage showed nothing out of the ordinary. It was as if the family had simply evaporated into thin air, swallowed by the eerie silence of the hotel. The hotel returned to its ordinary state, as if shaking off a terrible nightmare. The peculiar glances of the receptionist were replaced by a blank stare, and the whispering furniture fell silent. The artwork on the walls returned to its original form, and the invisible shadows ceased their nocturnal wanderings. Yet the disappearance of the family left a chilling void that was hard to ignore. The regular hotel guests and staff couldn't shake off the uneasy feeling that something was terribly wrong. The hotel had an ominous air about it, a palpable sense of a secret that it was desperately trying to hide. The hidden stay had swallowed the family whole, leaving behind nothing but questions. And so the mystery of the disappearing family continued to haunt the hotel, turning it into a chilling enigma that baffled anyone daring to enter. The hidden stay became a puzzle that baffled even the bravest. This seemingly ordinary hotel was now a labyrinth of unanswered questions, its dark secrets hidden beneath a veneer of normalcy. The family, once full of life and laughter, had vanished into thin air, leaving behind an eerie silence that echoed through the hotel's empty corridors. The receptionist could only offer bewildered shrugs, the peculiar glances now replaced with a haunted look. The whispers of the furniture had faded into an uneasy quiet, and the changing artwork on the walls was now frozen in time, their subjects' eyes following you with an unnerving intensity. Attempts to solve the mystery were as futile as they were numerous. Local authorities, private detectives, even curious thrill-seekers all ventured into the hotel's labyrinth, hoping to uncover the truth. They combed through every room, every nook and cranny, seeking any clue that could shed light on the family's disappearance. But the hidden stay seemed to revel in its enigma, its secrets as elusive as the shadows that danced on its walls. The mirrors no longer reflected unfamiliar faces, only the puzzled expressions of those who dared to peer into them, and the moments of disappearing visibility, they remained a chilling memory, a ghostly reminder of the hotel's unseen horrors. The hotel was no longer just a building, it had transformed into a living, breathing entity, its heartbeat pulsating in the whispers of the wind, its breath felt in the chilling drafts that swept through its hallways. It was a specter of fear, a monument to the unknown, a beacon for those drawn to the inexplicable. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the mystery of the hidden stay only deepened. The hotel's reputation grew, its story spreading like wildfire. It became a legend, a chilling tale whispered in hushed tones, a ghost story that sent shivers down the spines of those who heard it. Yet despite the fear, the uncertainty, and the unanswered questions, there was a morbid fascination that surrounded the hidden stay, a call to the curious, the brave, and perhaps the foolhardy, an invitation to step into the unknown, to challenge the unexplained, to face the unseen. But one question lingered, hanging in the air like a specter, casting a long dark shadow over the hotel. What happened to the family? Were they victims of a sinister force lurking within the hotel's walls? Or were they simply swallowed by the hotel itself, their existence erased, their memories buried deep within its foundations? The hidden stay waits, its shadows ready to welcome the next unsuspecting guests. Would you dare to enter?